Moving to the cloud can totally supercharge a business, right? But here's the thing. One single security mistake can be absolutely catastrophic. So today, we're going to break down the key lessons from Dr. Mohammed Ali's incredible work on cloud computing security. We're going to uncover the fundamental rules for staying safe, pulling directly from his research and some really eye-opening real-world case studies. Okay, so to really get a handle on cloud security, you kind of have to look back at how we even got here. As you can see on this timeline, our security thinking has always been a reaction to the tech of the day. I mean, we went from literally locking a physical mainframe in a room to building these digital castles and moats with firewalls to protect us on the internet. But the cloud era, well, it didn't just move the castle, it blew the whole thing up. The perimeter is just gone. And that brings us right to this huge tension we're all dealing with right now. The incredible promise of the cloud versus its built-in peril. The very things that make it so powerful are the exact same things that make it so vulnerable. It's a security challenge unlike anything we've ever had to face before. So why is everyone making the leap? Well, here's why. And it's not just about saving a buck with a pay-as-you-go model, though that's nice. It's really about speed. I mean, launching services in minutes instead of months. It's about being able to scale up to millions of users without ever having to buy a new server. Basically, it lets you focus on your actual business, not the business of running a giant, expensive data center. But here is the flip side, the peril. And this quote from Dr. Ali just nails it. That old castle and moat model we talked about, it's completely obsolete. And why? Because there is no single perimeter to defend anymore when your data is everywhere, being accessed from anywhere on any device. So, if the castle walls are down, it leads to the single most critical and, honestly, the most misunderstood question in all of cloud security. When something goes sideways, who's actually on the hook to fix it? And get this. This is one of the most important takeaways from Dr. Ali's research. The biggest, nastiest cloud breaches we read about, they're not happening because of some crazy super genius hacker. Nope. They're happening because of a fundamental misunderstanding of this one simple concept. It's a simple mistake, but it's the root cause of some of the most devastating data leaks out there. Okay, this table right here, this is the shared responsibility model, and it is absolutely crucial. Just look at the columns for a second. With infrastructure as a service, or IaaS, you're managing almost everything yourself on top of their hardware. Move over to platform as a service, PaaS, and the provider takes care of the operating system. And with software as a service, SaaS, like your email or CRM, they handle almost everything. But look at that one constant, that top row. No matter which model you choose, securing your data and managing who can access it, that is always your job. That responsibility never, ever shifts to the provider. And it's exactly that misunderstanding of responsibility that's the crack in the armor that attackers are just waiting to exploit. It creates the gaps they need to slip right in. So let's take a look at the modern threat landscape and see what the consequences look like in the real world. To really get a sense of the scale here, just look at this case from Kenya. The government made this bold move to modernize with a cloud-first policy. And what was the immediate response from attackers? A staggering 127% surge in automated brute force attacks. That's nearly 43 million attempts to guess a password or find a misconfigured system in just 3 months. This slide, wow, it perfectly breaks down how these modern attacks actually work, using a real ransomware called Phobos that was studied in Nigeria. And notice, this isn't a single event. It's a process. They get in through something simple, like a remote desktop port that was just left open to the internet. Then, they quietly move around the network, steal credentials, and, here's the key, they exfiltrate, or steal, all the valuable data first. The final step, locking up all the files, that only happens after they've already taken what they really came for. And these attacks aren't just technical problems. They have very real human consequences. The Turkcep breach in Turkey is a really sobering example. A single cyber attack on this email provider exposed the personal data of over 8,000 people. That puts them all at risk for identity theft, for phishing attacks. This is what's really at stake. So, against these relentless, methodical attacks, how in the world do you fight back? It's clear we can't just build higher walls anymore. We have to fundamentally change how we even think about defense. And this right here, this is the absolute heart of the modern defense playbook. The idea that identity is the new perimeter. It means we stop asking, is this request coming from inside our network? And we start asking, is this user who they say they are, and are they actually allowed to do this? In the cloud, who you are is infinitely more important than where you are. This chart just nails the difference, right? We're shifting away from that old castle and moat model that just sort of trusted anyone who was already inside the network. We're moving to a zero trust approach, which, well, it means exactly what it sounds like. You trust no one by default. Every single request from every user on every device has to be verified, every single time. And this whole zero trust strategy isn't just a vague idea. It's built on these 5 critical pillars. First, you've got to nail identity and access management. That means enforcing things like multi-factor authentication for everyone. Second, risk management. You have to be constantly looking for new weaknesses. Third, data protection. Encrypt your data so even if it's stolen, it's useless. Fourth, network security. Using things like microsegmentation so attackers can't move around freely. And finally, security monitoring. You have to log and watch everything all the time. But here's the massive challenge. Given the speed and the sheer scale of modern attacks, remember those 43 million attempts in Kenya? Even the best human-led defense team is just completely overwhelmed. It's not a fair fight anymore. And this is where we need a brand new tool, agentic AI. Now, the simplest way to think about this is as an autonomous security team. These are AI systems that can see what's happening, decide on the right response, and, this is the most important part, act instantly, at machine speed, without ever waiting for a human. So let's just apply this to those cases we were just looking at. An AI agent could have automatically identified and blocked those millions of brute force attacks in Kenya in real time. In Nigeria, it could have detected the telltale signs of that Phobos ransomware and isolated the infected systems in milliseconds before it ever had a chance to spread. And in Turkey, it could have been continuously monitoring for compliance issues that might have led to that Turkat breach in the first place. And all of this leads us to one final, really crucial question that Dr. Ali's work puts on the table for every single organization out there. In an era where attackers are using automation, where they're operating at machine speed, can we really afford to rely on a defense that only operates at human speed? It's a critical question to think about as we all try to build a more secure future.